Okay, we've been discussing a film in the 1920s and 30s and how back then film categories as we know them today have not yet been established. We said that by today's standards, many of the films of the 20s and 30s would be considered hybrid. That is a mixture of styles that certainly that fit into any of today's categories. And in that context, today we are going to talk about a filmmaker who began making very unique films in the late 1920s. He was French, and his name was Jean Painlevé. Jean Painlevé was born in 1902. He made his first film in 1928. Now, in a way, Painlevé's film conform to norms of the 20th century. That is, they don't fit very neatly into the categories we use to classify film today. Even by the standards of the 20s and 30s, Painlevé's films were unique, hybrid of style. He had a special way of fusing, or some people might say confusing, science and fiction. His films begin with the facts, but then they become more and more fictional. They gradually add more and more fictional elements. In fact, Penrose was known for saying that the science is fiction. Penrose was a pioneer in underwater filmmaking, and a lot of his short films focused on the aquatic animal world. He liked to show small underwater creatures displaying what seemed like familiar human characteristics. What we think of as unique to human. He might take a clip of a mouse going up and down in the water and set it to music, to make it look like the mouse were dancing to the music like a human being, that sort of thing. But then he suddenly changed image or narration to remind us how different the animals are, how unlike humans. He confused his audience in the way he portrayed the animals he filmed, mixing up our notions of the categories of human and animals. The film makes us a little uncomfortable time because we are uncertain about the time we are feeling. It gives him an uncanny feature. The familiar made unfamiliar. The normal made suspicious. He liked the twist, he liked the unusual. In fact, one of his favorite sea animals was the seahorse because with seahorses it's the male that carries the egg. She thought that was great. His first and most celebrated underwater film is about the seahorse. Susan, you have a question? But underwater filmmaking wasn't unusual, was it? I mean, weren't there other people making movies underwater? Well, actually, it was pretty rare at that time. I mean, we're talking about 1930 here, but what about Jacques Cousteau? Was he like an innovator, with underwater photography too? Ah, Jacques Cousteau. Well, Painlevé and Cousteau did both film underwater, and they were both innovators. So you're right in that sense. But that's pretty much where the similarity. 20 years ahead of Cousteau. And Cousteau's advantage were high tech, had lots of fancy equipment, whereas Painlevé kind of patched the equipment together as he needed it. Cousteau usually filmed large animals, usually in the open sea, whereas Painlevé generally filmed small animals and he liked any shallow water. And what else? So, well, the main difference was that Cousteau simply investigated and presented the facts. He didn't mix in fiction. He was a straight documentarist. He set the standards really for the nature documentary. Parloway, on the other hand, as we said before, mixed in elements of fiction. And a film were much more artistic, incorporating music and important elements. John, you have a question? Well, maybe I shouldn't be asking this, but uh, if Parloway's film are so special, so good, why haven't we ever heard of them? I mean, everyone's heard of Jack Stowe. Well, that's a fair question. And the short answer is that the Parloway's style just never caught on with the general public. I mean, it probably goes back at least in part to what we mentioned earlier, that people didn't know what to make of his films, they were confused by them, whereas Cousteau's documentaries were very straightforward, met people's expectations more than Parloway's film did. But you're true, film history is volatile, but Parloway is still highly respected in many circles.